I have never made a mistake in my whole life, Adam. Can you believe that?
Definitely not. I could never believe that.
And you're right. But what I do, I don't call them mistakes. I call them learning moments.
This is the Game Changers Experience. Deep dive conversations with leading business disruptors, Olympic athletes, celebrities, entrepreneurs, and influencers from around the world. This show will teach you insights about the winning principles in mindset, productivity, marketing, branding, entrepreneurship, business strategy, and more. Hosted by Productivity Authority, business strategist, former elite athlete, author, and public speaker, Adam Strong.
Interesting, because this is like music to my ears, Gary, right? You know, because I see so many CEOs, whether it be or business owners, whether they run a small company or they run a Fortune 500 company, right? And what do you think is, where do you think that CEOs get it wrong? You know, because you have gone on a massive journey over the last sort of 40 odd years, you know, from opening a subsidiary in Australia to becoming one of the most well-respected leaders of all time. You know, where do you think some of the, when you have conversations with people on the golf course, for example, or when you sit on a round table with other CEOs of big companies, where do you think a lot of these CEOs go wrong?
I think there's three areas, Adam. The first one is, and it's probably not their fault, but they play the finite game instead of the infinite game. In other words, the pressure to deliver short-term results overwhelms the need to build an enduring company over time. And particularly if you're a public company, and particularly if you're a US public company, you know, it's all about what did you do for me in the last 90 days? And that forces them to make finite decisions instead of infinite decisions. We're here to build an enduring company over time. So I think that's number one. Number two, which is their fault, is their ego eats their empathy instead of their empathy eating their ego. And they create what I call the soul-sucking CEO. And, you know, I have him here. I think I showed him to you before.
Yeah, we did. What was his name again? Al,
the soul-sucking CEO. And Al has some really toxic behaviors. Number one is Al really is corporate royalty, so he believes. He's fought his way to get there. He better have the best office in the building, a private parking spot. Those shall bow to Al. Al never keeps his word. And if something ever goes wrong, it's never Al's fault. It's always someone else's fault. Al never involves his people, and he's always right. He always has the answers. He doesn't bring people in. Al hates feedback. You know, he really doesn't need that. You know, he's earned his spot here, and we know that. You know, it's the power of feedback and inclusion and all of that crisp and beautiful confrontation in a friendly way that you have. Al hates learning, and he doesn't embrace what we call the learning moment. He leads by fear. Now, the learning moment to us is I have never made a mistake in my whole life, Adam. Can you believe that?
Definitely not. I could never believe that.
And you're right. But what I do, I don't call them mistakes. I call them learning moments.
Yeah.
And I have millions of learning moments. And the definition of a learning moment is a positive or negative outcome of any situation that needs to be openly and freely shared to benefit all people. Right. So at WD-40, we don't make mistakes. We have learning moments, and we encourage them. And we praise and applaud people for positive ones and negative ones, because we want them to feel safe in the circle of safety, sharing what's working and what's not working. And Al doesn't like that. It's fear-based. So Al has these awful attributes. And I wrote an article. It's actually on LinkedIn. If anybody wants to read it, it's about the soul-sucking CEO, where I describe